All right, good afternoon, everybody. Now let's talk about some exciting things. So we here at Evolon are rolling out Insights 2.3 and our mobile app 2.0. Insights came out around May 2023 as version 1.0. So in less than 2 years, we've already hit a 2.0 milestone. And so 2.3 seems to be one of the biggest updates that we've had in the history of Insights. And so, what would you think are the big wins with the 2.3 for Insights?
Well, I'll start off. I'll say, obviously, scheduling, the ability for a service provider to set up schedules for any one of their customers and any one of their sites, and they can copy those across hundreds of sites. They can set up templates, and then those schedules can be armed and disarmed on demand by their customers through the mobile app. That's a very powerful feature. And then we extend that to include professional monitoring. If they want that, they can do emergency SOS commands on any one of those sites, or just one of them, or all of them, or any combination of them. And then we do push notifications. We have a really easy to use and visualize command center or control center that lets you pick which site you want to see your arm disarm status, SOS, schedules, snooze or to snooze things if you don't want to be getting notifications on them, and then a dashboard. So it's this kind of functionality that really won us the SIA, a new product of the year award last year. And so we're really excited to bring all this functionality right to a service provider to resell that, and then also the customers to enjoy the ability to say, hey, I want this site to be able to be armed on this schedule. This is a different site. I don't want it armed at all, or I want, et cetera. So it's just very, very flexible. What do you think, Jamie?
Yeah, so the feedback, that's a great point on the scheduling. So the feedback that we did receive from the customers, being able, especially some of our customers that are using like an LTE or a low bandwidth type site, that they want to be able to limit what traffic is sent during which periods of time that they set for arming and disarming. And with Insights being the source of truth for that schedule and interacting with our Edge products, being able to disarm a site, which in turn disarms that device at the edge from sending alerts. So typical situation, service band gets on site to maybe service an oil field or a substation. They don't want those nuisance alerts to be coming across the internet as well as the cloud and maybe to a central station. So being able to suppress those alerts either through the mobile app or through the web portal, thus turns off that device from sending those alerts while they're in, kind of a service mode at the facility. So that brings value to them, that they're not using very expensive bandwidth for actionable events.
Yeah, and they may have like 5G connection or very limited bandwidth, and absolutely that device knows, hey, I'm not going to be sending at this time, which really reduces the cost for them.
And one of the things that we also learned is, monitoring a site, arming is great. Hey, let's arm it. There's no harm, no foul when you arm a site. But what's really painful is when somebody disarms a site and not knowing, number one, who did it, for how long they did it. And so with the disarming function that we've implemented in the mobile app, is it prevents that user from like disarming it into perpetuity. There's a fail safe and also logging to say, Kyle disarmed the site at 3:00 and didn't arm it back. So now you have some of a log to be able to go back and piecemeal what happened. Why didn't that site get rearmed, right? And with the fail-safe of the maximum they can disarm that site for is 24 hours. So the fail-safe is if nobody disarms arms it back in 24 hours, it's going back into an armed state.
Now, it's a great fundamental feature that we're finally bringing to our customers. So the mobile app got updated to version 2.0. Can you tell us a little bit more about how Insights 2.3 and Mobile 2.0 work together?
Yeah, sure. So again, you're a service provider. Let's say you have 20, 30 customers. Each customer has 5 or 6 sites each. You can go in and select a specific customer and set up a schedule for them. And you can have holidays and set up your exceptions. And then by that customer, you can enable that feature on their mobile app. And now they can, and then we give you a lot of options. So we have basically three major subscription levels, sort of a basic or subscription that just lets you view what's going on, arm and disarm. But then we have a monitor yourself function that lets you, the customer who wants to be able to turn that on and off themselves using their mobile app, and also get push notifications. And if they want, they can optionally get a SOS type of feature through one of our partners that they, police will show up. So even if they have monitor themselves, they can get professional monitoring on demand. And then we have a full-blown professional monitoring service that Jamie's going to probably expand on that lets you get the full enchilada where it turns on, and that's monitored on your schedule. If you decide to go home early, you can say, hey, I want this to be armed until the next event. We really thought through, we took a lot of surveys of how people use arming systems and made that very flexible for the user. So they go hand in hand. The mobile app works for that more the end user who's going to have this with them 24/7, the guard. And then the service provider or the SOC can have that view of their customers and as a service provider, and drill right down in and see what's going on and produce audit reports to see what happened. And of course, we've got a very robust forensic search capability. And on the mobile app, we integrated that with even speech to text that lets you say, hey, show me all events that occurred in the last 20 minutes at this site. And it immediately shows you what happened. So it's a very nice integration, very intuitive and easy to use.
Yeah. So on the professional monitoring piece, a customer, let's say that they enter into, let's say, just a simple monitor yourself subscription to where, I'm a business owner, I'm watching my own facility. I get an event that occurs that I feel I need to dictate calling either my guard service or calling the police. That's on me to do that. Let's say I grow and scale and I say, I can no longer monitor my sites. I need to move this up to a professional monitoring. That's a simple click of a button, from a dealer perspective to say, you're going now from monitor yourself to professional monitoring. And then we engage with that dealer and that end user to go through what that action plan looks like, to understand, okay, what happens when somebody's loitering in front of your parking lot during these times? The action plan says, okay, we're going to sound the horn for 2 times, trespassing, you're not wanted, you need to leave. And then maybe the next action plan is, hey, we're dispatching police. And so we work with those end users to understand what is the protocol when an SOS is alerted, or when a vehicle is detected, or somebody's loitering in front of their business. So we work with them hand in hand from the dealer setting up cameras, getting them installed, getting them turned on to the service, as well as moving them to that professional monitoring to have the professionals really dispatch out when there's an incident on site.
Yeah, I've got a consumer grade video doorbell.
I think we heard it a minute ago.
So let's talk about, somebody comes to my house and starts banging on the door. I'm out to dinner and I'm pretty limited what I could do. So how does the Evolon Insights SOS product help in a situation like that? You're not at the site, something is happening, and you see something going down. What options?
Well, the SOS really is the real key feature. You can deal with sounding horns and things like that, but if you have a bad actor who's trying to bring your door down, I'm not going to waste any time. I call it shoot first, ask questions later. And that's what that SOS feature is basically. On my phone, I have a button that I press and I can dispatch immediately to that professional monitor. And basically that action plan is that when they receive that SOS, it's tied to my site, it's tied to my address, it's tied to these first responders. Then they make contact and they call out for that law enforcement.
Yeah. And then technically the operations center has full view of all of your cameras at that site. They can drill and they can direct the responders to go, hey, there's now somebody in the back door, and all that's recorded too. So we've got full forensics of all of that. So they can do the forensics on it as well.
Yeah, situational awareness is very important from a first responder to know, hey, we had a guy beating on the door. We spotted him again on the back door camera. So now when those first responders arrive on site, they can have some detail from that central station operator that's feeding them that information to say, this is what the person was dressed as. He looked like he went around the back door. And so there's limit the surprises that the first responder is going to have.
No, that's a very compelling feature, very exciting, especially for those who maybe not need full-time professional monitoring, but maybe just need some on-demand response when, something does get serious. So in going through these release notes, one of the things I've noticed is every single release that we publish, we note something called AI model changes and updates. What does that mean for somebody who's using Insights?
Well, we have we never stop improving our model, never. We're always collecting input from our customers. And the cool thing is these are customers who are just like you, who are listening to you right now. We've got people who have retail, who have perimeter security, who have parking lots, and we're looking at through those data all the time. And then we're updating our model to do some really challenging low light, low resolution, all kinds of really cool. Jamie can tell you a whole list of really interesting things that we're solving that we know our competitors aren't doing. And that's because we never stop looking at those videos to improve and retrain our model. So we just came out with a major release of our model that dramatically improves our truths so that we know we've got a person. Our false rate is extremely small. And so we're always working on that. And that's never going to stop with us. We're relentless about investing in improving our AI. And the cool thing is if we do miss things, a user can say, hey, you missed this car, wasn't really moving. It's easy for the customer to point that out. And then we immediately put that in our training. And that becomes, hey, we've just fixed that in our next release.
Yeah, I think a key point you might have mentioned is the video that we are using to train our AI model is truly surveillance video. And we have customers,
Exactly.
Not to throw anybody under the bus, but we have video that is very low resolution, D1 all the way up to P plus. I think we've had some 4K customers as well. So training, very blurry, very grainy, all the way up to that high definition in our training set really adds value. So, customers that have some legacy gear, but they still want some monitoring, we're a trusted resource because we do have that, years and I would say millions of hours of surveillance video that we've used to train against.
So it's safe to say that with Evolon's Insights, there's no camera that's left behind, right?
That's true. And I think the other thing of our pedigree is we started off with a lot of patents involving putting intelligence on the edge of the camera before that was even popular. So depending on how you engage us with our bridge product or our edge product or just your own cameras that you have, we can take those streams and give you that quality edge type behavior that you're not having to get a bunch of false negatives right and and send those back and have to filter through tons of video. We do that with our bridge product and our edge products very seamlessly.
Yeah, I think the bridge product that you mentioned, that, part of my job is, customer success. And we've had some customers that have had legacy equipment. The cameras and the NVRs just can't produce the quality of video that you really need for computer vision. And being able to take that bridge and place it into that network and pull those RTSP streams off. And now we have what used to be less than D1 to now EP quality images and video coming from that site has just been a huge game changer for, the peace of mind of what they're wanting to really see, and going with grainy video to high quality video. It's like going from the TV antennas to, high speed internet.
And I guess the other thing I'd say, a trend that we're seeing is a lot more integration of our product with other NVR and VMS products like Network Optics and Wave and things like that, Milestone and Genetec, where they're just sending us video. We actually improve that tremendously. And that's probably another chat all on its own where we talk about that. But we're doing some really awesome things with people who already have an investment in an NVR or VMS system. And we can add those plugins right to it. And even like Jamie said, we're using scheduling right there. So we're not even going to send, particularly like with the NX plugin example, we're not even sending video when they don't need it. So we're not always sending stuff to the cloud.
Of course, going to help our customers out on site by not sending data all day long, especially during the busiest time of the day, right? So to recap, over 2.0 and 2.3 for Insights, we've got arming and disarming of sites, we've got scheduling, we've got improved AI models. Stephen, is there anything you can tell us, a peek behind the curtain, what we might be able to look forward to in 2.0?
Sure. We're obviously, I mentioned we're going to have new AI models, but we're adding a lot of really neat new devices that go beyond just what we're doing now. So the ability to do tailgating, more analytics, the ability to open gates, close gates, monitor the status of fences, electronics, all kinds of really cool features that extend your reach if you are concerned about perimeter security. And we built our system so that we could add new network devices. And that can be anything from opening a door to turning on lights to implementing all kinds of new features that you would really want to be doing as a manager of a building or a facility, or as a business owner, or as a homeowner, right? To integrate to your system. So, and I know Jamie has some really exciting things that he's working with customers that we're supporting right now that involve some really cool features involving sirens and lighting and all kinds of features like that.
Yeah, I learned a long time ago from a very smart person, and this was many, many years ago, that if it can be connected, it will be connected. And when they are connected, the automation of that is just as important. So Steve mentioned, you have an incident, you want to sound a siren, horn, you want to do a talk down, somebody presses an intercom button, you want to interact with them. Those are the automation features that a lot of business owners are looking at. Arming and disarming an IDS panel, intrusion detection, that can be done through a push of a button through the mobile app today. How about doing that as well as arming your video system at the same time without having to go and swivel chair between two mobile apps, right?
That's right. And just making it all viable right from your mobile app, giving you the ability to do that right here without having to log in and do some complicated things. We want to make it incredibly easy for you to manage your security system, regardless of who makes it, what camera it is, or what VMS. So you have the ability with the mobile app to basically drill down. Like I was saying before, I can pick, if I'm a service provider, I can pick any one of my customers if I'm a service provider. And you can see I've got a lot of test sites here. And then within that customer, I got lots of sites, right? So I can pick a site and I can say, hey, this one's disarmed or armed. I can arm that site if I can arm it or disarm it, and immediately do that when that one does not have a schedule. So I'm just turning it on and off. But if I go to a site that does have a schedule, like this one, as Jamie was saying, it's currently armed, and I want to override that schedule. I'm going to be asked to disarm that. I can't do that for perpetuity, right? So I can pick how many hours I want to do that. And all this is being logged. So we know exactly who's doing this, right? There's an audit trail for all of these kinds of cool things. And then what's really nice about what I just showed you is all of this is at the hands of both the service provider and of the customer. They have about the same view, and they can do their SOSs from here. They can snooze alerts if they want to for a few hours. Let's say they're getting push notifications and they got some service people coming in. They don't want to receive that. They can snooze those for their phone. They can drill down into some really cool dashboards that let them see by site, camera. And then also, of course, they can go in and see, set up their schedules for notifications and schedules, and pick from any kind of setup that they want to be able to set up their calendars and things like that. And this all works in tandem with our Insights product, so the service provider who's at a desk or the SOC can do this as well without having to use a mobile app if they choose so.
Now, this is all very interesting and exciting stuff. Stephen, Jamie, thanks for taking time out to share the new functionality with us. Stephen, I know your engineers have a lot of work ahead of them for the sounds of it, so I'll let everybody get back to work, and thanks for taking time.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.